Hello.
Japer, I posted the Japer in the chat. I posted the agenda.
Thank you. All right, let's wait till Amir gets on, and we have a pretty concise agenda today. So we will always start off with, or if we can, start off with an MPD report from 3D. So once Amir gets on, we will have Sergeant Maradiaga. Did I
Already up.
butcher? All
That's
right.
fine.
All right. There. I see you on. Are you connecting to audio?
I'm sorry.
Oh, just waiting for another. Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right, cool. So let's go ahead and get this started. Greetings. My name is Shaper Bowles, and I'm the commissioner for ANC 1C07. You are joining our ABC and Public Safety Committee meeting on April 14th, starting at 7. So now I am one of 3. So I'd like to pass it to our other commissioners, Commissioner Clem and Commissioner Ronnie. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Fiona Clem. I'm a commissioner for 1C08, which is the southeast corner of Adams Morgan. I also serve as a secretary for the ANC 1C. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona.
Hey everyone, I'm Amir Irani, Commissioner for 1C01. That's the southwest corner of Adams Morgan, and I also serve as chair of ANC 1C.
Great, thank you. Okay, so with that, I will turn it to the first item on the agenda, which is an MPD 3D crime and safety report. So yes, Sergeant, if you would like to introduce yourself and if you could give us your rundown, that would be awesome.
Yes, sir. My name is Sergeant George Maradiaga. I'm a sergeant with the Metropolitan Police Department, 3rd District, assigned to PSA 303 evenings. That's your ANC. For the month of May, we've had a total of 7 crimes in the PSA. They've included 1 theft from auto and 3 regular thefts from stores. And that is basically it.
I'm sorry, could you say you said 3, I'm sorry, the last part, 3 what?
It was 1 theft from auto. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
1 theft from auto and 6 thefts from stores.
All right. And nobody was injured in the store thefts?
Correct. They were just property crimes.
Thanks.
Regarding the theft of the automobile, is that the same thing that we hear every month of an Uber Eats person picking up food, or was it something different this time?
This was just a basic theft from auto. It was not a jump in. Okay. So the running was just stolen from the park position.
Okay, cool. So that's good. So this month we haven't had any Uber Eats folks lose their vehicles.
No, not in our PSA. We've had some in the district, but not in our ANC.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. I know that that's like a big problem. So okay, great. Other commissioners, do we have any questions? Great. And for those that are on the line, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can promote you. And or if you feel comfortable messaging it into the chat. Okay. Looks like we have one person who has raised their hand, Jim. Gordon, could you please promote Jim?
Go ahead, Jim.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hi, Sergeant. Thank you for joining us. I reached out through Zach Gold to MPD about a series of package thefts around the neighborhood. I'm not sure exactly how many police reports have been filed. The one that was filed from my building, 1750 Harvard Street. I can read out the number if you'd like right now. It was 21-034-137. All are pretty much the same suspect. There's been a big sort of series of threads on Nextdoor all about the same person. Our postal carrier has seen him pretty frequently at Harvard Towers, 1845 Harvard Street. And on Nextdoor, a lot of people are saying they've seen him as well. And pretty much over March through now, every few days, you hear and see the same guy stealing packages around the neighborhood. So I emailed that through Mr. Gold to a Lieutenant Hong, who then advised he was replaced by a Lieutenant Miller. So I emailed him 3 days ago, and I haven't heard anything since. But just would like to just bring your attention to it and raise it if anyone else has experienced this as well. I yield back. Thank you.
Yes, unfortunately, we do have an increase in theft from stores, or I mean, theft of packages. We've made a couple of arrests within the last couple of months, but they do continue. Unfortunately, it's a crime of opportunity. Most of these locations, your apartment buildings, the condominiums, these people just pretty much camp out and wait for Amazon and FedEx to come and make deliveries, and they kind of just sneak their way in and steal the packages. It's kind of a difficult crime to prevent. Unless you actually have a concierge or private security at your apartment buildings. We have officers out there, mountain bike officers and foot-beat officers patrolling, but unfortunately they cannot patrol every single block, every single minute. So it's an unfortunate situation. Unfortunately, Lieutenant Miller is currently in training. That's why he couldn't participate today. It's probably why he has not responded back to your email, but he will. All I can say at the moment is, were you able to provide pictures to the officer who actually took the report?
I didn't file the report myself. Someone else in my building did. I did email a picture, pretty high resolution, to Lieutenant Miller. That we have flyers in our building. He's hit our building 4 times. Twice he made it in. Twice he came off. Just got stuff that was left outside on the steps. But I know he's been around. It's the same exact guy. So yeah, Lieutenant Miller does have a picture of him. So yeah, hopefully you guys can find him.
Hopefully we can. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure if the picture has been disseminated to the detectives who's probably following up on the case. What were the report numbers on it? Do you have the report numbers?
Yeah, the case is 21-034-137. Pardon me?
It happened about a month ago.
That was like mid-March maybe.
Okay.
The person that filed the report, we then had another resident see the guy later, and they emailed, I think it was Officer Graham, and they emailed her pictures, a different set of pictures, but I can email you whatever we have as well. I can forward it to you right now if you'd like.
Sure. I'm not too sure how to provide you my email address without actually just spelling it out.
Sure.
Sure. It's first name is George.
Oh, I was actually going to say it's in our meeting agenda. So you can just reach that there, or we can get it posted in the chat for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
And I believe that Commissioner Gold is also on the line and has his hand raised.
Sure.
You could promote him. It's the last 3 digits is 595. And I think he might actually be able to speak to this very incident. Commissioner Gold.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Bowles. You can hear me, I assume?
Yes.
I apologize for being so low tech tonight.
I'm sorry. Hello?
He
I
just,
think he
he just dropped off.
Yeah.
I think he was apologizing for being so low tech. So we can give him just a few more moments. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. If you, Sergeant, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, he messaged me and said if I can get the contact information of the daytime MPD contact. That's still, would that be Lieutenant Miller?
Yes, yes, it would be.
Cool. Great. Well, if there's no other questions, I think that will be all. Thank you so much, Sergeant.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Bye-bye.
I know.
Great. Okay, so the next item up for discussion is the settlement agreements regarding air. I can pull that up. So AIR is a CR retail restaurant license, and that is located at 2473 18th Street. I wanted to give the committee an update as to where we are at and see what other sticking points there could possibly be in terms of from the ANC's standpoint, and see if there were any community questions about anything. In this settlement agreement, which I've shared with the screen and it is attached to the agenda, you can go through the biggest, or I guess the points of contention are the things that are highlighted. So these are things that, there's been some push and pull between the applicant as well as us protesting as well as other protestants. So I guess if we wanted to go through this, our Commissioner Clem, Commissioner Arani, I could go through the major areas of consideration. First being the hours of operation, essentially asking for what I would consider pretty standard times, 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. For Adams Morgan. They are asking for a summer garden. The hours for the summer garden are asked to be reduced. This is one of the larger spaces in 18th or on 18th Street. So regarding occupancy, they did originally apply for 350. And I don't believe they denoted their indoor seating capacity. But we requested that the capacity be reduced and that the seated capacity be stated. Essentially, the thought behind that is to limit the standing room and ensure that, this is a restaurant and that it will function as such. This applicant also is interested in having a jazz brunch, which I think will be pretty cool, especially during once coronavirus is over with. So that will be offered. There is some fluctuation on the time period. And then also what will happen if there isn't a jazz brunch. The applicant is interested in having other live musicians or DJs, which I believe is pretty customary on 18th Street. The applicant is also interested in holiday extension hours, which again is things that other folks spoke about. This settlement agreement is also a little bit different. It has a special events clause. The special events clause permits the applicant to have up to 8 times a month after certain hours to have a cover charge as well as different types of entertainment other than the jazz brunch that was listed previously. This is a point the hours maybe. There are other Protestants neighborhood association that this language has been crafted from, just the numbers have been changed to it or adjusted. So those things are the amount of times that there would be special events, and then what time, or not what time, but just the number of events. And then I also wanted to hear back from the community and the committee on defining what special events are. I think that these are pretty good, but I wanted to confirm with you all if there's any additional special events that we should include or exclude, just as to, allowing this person to use their space for these types of special events. One of the other parts about this is that although there will be special events, the owner and the manager of the applicant of the establishment will maintain internal control of it. So there's not going to be a third party person or a promoter. That's something that we have been steadily against, and I look to continue that. The noise, this is a pretty standard noise language here. One of the parts was especially to keep the door closed, so the indoor music will not protrude into the alley of 18th Street, which does face the Line Hotel. It is that far north on 18th Street and on the east side. There is an option for the applicant to, however, allow the summer garden to have like ambient music. So nothing that's like a loudspeaker, anything like that, but, soft music. The trash, garbage, and rodents issue. This is also something that's pretty standard. The one issue here, or I guess contention, is the amount of times that the applicants should be required to have the trash be picked up. From what I know of the applicant, 3 is acceptable. There are others, and I think even this is something that the ANC could probably push back on to increase it more. It is a large venue, so it is a restaurant. Their sample menu has shown fried foods, so I definitely think overall, being able to push back on this might be something that we could and possibly should do. I will denote that there's other folks that want to have multiple times, or not multiple times a day, at least once a day or whenever they have business picked up. So if there's other ANC commissioners that are on the call or other community members, that looks like, the route that we would likely be going is to increase it from 3. The next thing is exterior use of space. This is mostly just to make sure that there aren't people congregating outside of the space. This space is a step up. So what that means is that like most of the row homes on 18th Street, there's multiple floors. This applicant is on the 2nd and 3rd floor. So the 1st floor is not a part of this applicant's license. So essentially folks would have to walk upstairs. This provision is pretty standard, and essentially it's to do that, just to say, make sure that there's no folks that are preventing in the pedestrian crosswalks. The next part is third-party events. Essentially, this is a rehashing of the special events. Essentially just saying you are going to manage your own events. You're not going to have a third party manage it. What comes pretty much directly after that, because of third party events, is bar and pub crawls. So this is something that none of our applicants are able to do common. We do not permit pub crawls or tours or anything like that in our settlement agreements in Adams Morgan. The next part is be considerate, regular modifications, regular regulations, and availability. Were there any big questions or comments or concerns from the commissioners? My goal is to work out the kinks of this based on the feedback I received from you all and propose this for full consideration at the May meeting. So that would require us having Hinnock signing something and be and approval by the 25th of this month. Does that sound good? Questions for folks?
Commissioner Bowles?
Yeah.
Yes, so the one, I mean, everything looks fine. I think that there should be more trash pickup. For an establishment this size, operating from 8 a.m. until midnight or 1 or 2 or 3, then I think that with the capacity it has, I would recommend more trash pickup is the main thing. Everything else looks fine to me. I don't have any big questions right now.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you. If you were to have a number, obviously just up, we can talk about that more after. Commissioner Irani, did you have questions? I know that you were also interested in increasing the trash pickup.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Commissioner Bowles. Yeah, trash, rodents are an issue. Trash pickup is an issue throughout the neighborhood, and a restaurant of this size with these hours needs to have more trash pickup. Another alternative could be an airtight trash compactor that could help reduce the number of days it gets picked up, while also making it so that rats and vermin and those kinds of things don't get into the dumpster. So yeah, that could be helpful.
Okay, great. So definitely heard. I will speak to the applicants about increasing that. Let's see if we have questions for any of the community members and or if we have any other ANC commissioners that are on the line with us. Okay.
Brian is asking in the chat, wouldn't the frequency of trash pickup be relative to the size and number of the dumpsters?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like where this plays into, knowing that spot. I think, you know, the dumpsters that are there fit up the exact amount. That whole wall is lined up with dumpsters. So yeah, definitely something to talk about and consider more. So, Amir, did you have, you're the, I would say the resident trash expert on this.
I don't know how I became a resident trash expert.
Oh,
you know, just my experience, certainly like, you know, there's a couple of knobs to push, right? Like, or knobs to mess with to when talking about the frequency of trash pickup, the number of dumpsters, the type of dumpster, right? That when I was getting into the compactor, right, that also gets into the frequency of the trash pickup. The point is, though, is that an establishment of this size and the fact that there's no space back there for a lot of additional dumpsters, as Commissioner Bowles mentioned, it's like just dumpsters are lined up next to each other. So you can increase the frequency, you can get a compactor or something like that, you know. But yeah, I think I've probably talked more about this than even I would have liked as the resident trash expert. Thank you, Commissioner Bowles.
of course. Okay, so if there are any questions, please, from the community, feel free to use the wave hand function. and we will try to answer your questions to the best of our abilities. Again, this is a proposal based on the feedback I've received from these committee members and other community members. I will reach out to the applicants, say we need more trash pickup, and relay that back to committee members and the commission. And hopefully we will have a number set to approve in May.
Japer, Dennis James would like to talk.
Perfect.
Good evening, everyone. So Calorama Citizens Association is the other party that has protested that could be, on this agreement. I have never seen the document that Japer Bowl seems to be reading from, and I went to your website, and I can't make that document that seems to be linked appear on my computer. But just to let everybody listening know, on March 24th, I sent the KCA's last comments on an agreement back, and have never heard a response from anybody about that, from either the licensee, his attorney, or Commissioner Bowles, who is leading the ANC's effort on this. So there's that. And I disagree with, on KCA's behalf, on many of the suggestions of a final wording of the agreement, which I've heard Commissioner Bowles refer to on some document, which again, I haven't seen. I mean, the typical thing in the basic courtesy is to send a draft that you are considering to the other party, but that hasn't happened. So this is a restaurant license, and they're applying for a full entertainment endorsement, but for all their hours of operation. And they want to have dancing, although it's kind of unspoken in that there will be a dance floor under certain conditions. So it's pretty much a nightclub, but they have to meet the food requirements. And the space is built like a nightclub. If anybody's been in it, it hasn't operated for a long time, but that's the type of operator that is drawn to this space. That has been the case historically in the two previous establishments that have located there. So the Calorama citizens would prefer lesser hours than the full legal hours. The later hours in the nightclub type atmosphere lead to disturbance, violence, overconsumption of alcohol. This is a long history of things we've seen in Adams Morgan. And it'd be better not to, go back down that path. Plus, it would be a really bad precedent to set a new sign that says you can have a full entertainment endorsement with a restaurant and full hours. Not too many restaurants have such a thing. There's limitations. So the suggestion that the Calorama citizens sent over was for fewer numbers of days, which could be considered for special events. We suggested 4 instead of 8, for instance. That's one thing. The occupancy we would still like to see reduced because it's going to be an awful lot of people. 350. I mean, that's what they applied for. They seem to have come down to 300, although things can change in a negotiation. You never know what thing that you want, and they say, oh yeah, we'll agree to that, but in exchange for that, we want to move the occupancy back up, that kind of thing. So the talks have not come to a conclusion. There hasn't been good communication throughout. The attorney didn't even attend one of the mediation sessions, the attorney for the applicant. I found that to be truly bizarre. This seems like, not really negotiating in good faith if you don't even have your attorney there. The trash is a concern. There are numerous establishments that are required to have more frequent pickups. The dumpsters that line the place in the rear. It has probably nothing to do with this establishment because they're not in operation yet. Doesn't have a license, so those dumpsters probably belong to other businesses. You know, so the question would be what would be there for this applicant. It's pretty cheap to have pickups. Commissioner Ronnie and I have explored that in other settings, and it's just not one of those make or break issues, but it's a good way to be a good neighbor and not bring rats to the neighborhood. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly what the wording is on this thing that Commissioner Bowles has been discussing. I haven't seen it. I haven't had the courtesy of it being sent to me. And, you know, the KCA stands ready to negotiate, as we said when we sent the agreement over, and I sent a reminder message to the ANC through Japer Bowles and to the applicant and his attorney, and no response at all. So, you know, it's disappointing that we can't come to a better conclusion, and I don't think that this agreement is ready to be voted on or assumed that it's appropriate for our neighborhood. We don't have any nightclubs in our neighborhood, and, you know, it's proven to be a negative in the way of violence and other negative impacts on the community. The more entertainment, the more late hours, the less focus on food. So I'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Like I said, so this is up for discussion. So if there are any other commissioners or community members who have questions, comments. Okay. All right, seeing none. So I will utilize the feedback I've gotten from the committee members, and I will also send this to the other protestants who, although do have the same path, do not have to go down the same road. So although, you know, the ANC is negotiating with the applicant and KCA is also negotiating with the applicant. So good luck. The next item that we have on the agenda are renewals. So Class A retail liquor stores are up for licensing renewal for the community. Licensing renewal happens at a scheduled time period. So let me see if I can pull this up. This scheduled renewal period is for Class A licenses, and as I mentioned earlier, those are retail stores. Within ANC 1C, we have 5 of these applicants, at least from what I have seen and done a scanning of. They are Metro Wine, Lee Liquors, Martin's Wine, AB Liquors, and The Bottle Shop. Of those, 4 of the 5 have been placarded, and I have been able to find information as to when like we can protest. What I would suggest the committee does is, you know, if we would go through each liquor store and give folks an opportunity to say yay, nay, if they have questions. And if there is something that has happened or that has been brought to the committee's attention, you know, we have time to do fact finding, and we do have time to present a protest if necessary. The reason why I say if necessary is because unlike licenses that are brand new or transfer of a license, a license renewal, again, is on a schedule and is typical. And from what I've seen in the past, this ANC typically just allows these to go under renewal. They go through this process. They allow community members to voice their concerns if there are any. And then we would either submit a letter saying we are not protesting any of these, or we would simply let the protest deadline pass by. So with that, Commissioner Arani, since you were previously chair and were chair, does that process sound about right? I do want to keep, the renewal process consistent to what we've done in the past, as it seems fair and is a good opportunity to get community feedback.
Right. Thanks, Commissioner Bowles. So, I think it's just important that we get the word out that these licenses are up for renewal, so that so that residents know that. So if we put that on our website, if we put that in the listserv updates, or in our blast to the community, that these establishments are up for renewal, then it gives an opportunity and to contact their ANC commissioner if they have something in particular that they'd like to raise. I think that would be helpful to get the word out. So we could start there, and we could also contact ABRA to see if there is to obtain a history of violations. So that's another way of staying ahead of things. But these ones in particular that are on our agenda, off the top of my head, from residents that I know, I haven't heard anything, and there's nothing off the top of my head that's problematic about them. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Yeah, I would also concur. I also wanted to denote that there is a, while there are, these are the ones that we found that are in our ANC, there are opportunities for us to protest liquor stores that are directly outside of our ANC and within a few, within a certain parameter. I believe it's 200, but it may be 400 feet. It's a certain amount of footage, but there are two other liquor stores, one particularly on U Street, which is across the street from the all of U, Florida, and 18th Street. So it's directly across the street from 1C, and then there's also another one in 1B, which I believe Fiona got the notice for. So these are just the ones that are in our jurisdiction. Though if there are ones that are outside of our jurisdiction that you do have questions or cause for concern, please let us know too. And we'll also reach out to that ANC commissioner and see how we can help them. So I have a BA that looks like they've raised their hands.
Hi, this is Benedict.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to make a few, just a comment that it's very important, for Adams Morgan and the community to make sure that, when the liquor license for establishments are coming for renewal, that the ANC and, the Colorado Citizen Association and the Recook Neighborhood Association, are part of the negotiation for the renewal. The settlement agreements back in the days when I used to work with the ANC and I was the ABC representative from RCNA, we were working with different establishments and ABRA, and those settlements agreements have helped as much as it could, to protect the neighborhood and make sure, that, there was noise reduction, there was crowd control, trash pickup, reduction of pests. And I think it's important that, this ANC continues what, former ANC commissioners and, neighborhood association have been doing for the last 15 years. So we need to still take into consideration, those settlement agreements and make sure that, there is still a good relationship with the establishments and the organizations and the residents, because we are the one being affected if the settlement agreements does not protect the community. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm going to per Commissioner Ronnie's recommendation, get a list from ABRA, see if there have been any incidents regarding any of these renewal license. So if so, I will report that to the committee and the full commission in May. Okay, so let me, okay. Committee members, do you suggest that we go through each applicant again, or how do we feel about, I mean, I want to give everyone time, but I don't know if we're done here.
I think that as a point of information, it's helpful for the community to know what is getting renewed, and we can share that. I think that making a comprehensive list, adding it to our website so that it's easily accessible, or a Google Doc or whatever, and then I can share it to the listserv. I think that should satisfy, and we can solicit any protests or questions that way.
Yeah,
I think the big issue with most of these is the operating hour and selling time changes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I will essentially just send you what's in the agenda. I will also look up to see why I can't find the bottle shops license renewal. And yeah, if we could get these posted on the website, that would be awesome. Okay, so with that, I don't have any other questions. I'm not seeing any from the community or committee, so I will.
Hey, Japer.
Yes.
Brian is asking in the chat if you can make the air settlement available.
Did.
Gotcha. And for anybody who is looking to access it, you usually can get the updated privacy if you just refresh your page.
Great. And Brian, feel free to email me or call or text if you're still having issues. Or for anyone out there, all my stuff's on the website. Great. Okay, well, thank you so much, committee members. Thank you so much, community members. Have a great rest of your night, and